our goal today is to talk about how teams are actually using AI to evolve the way they work. We're really focused on highlighting practitioners throughout this session to talk about how teams are using AI across sourcing, pipeline management, diligence, execution, integration, and so on, to dive into what the next generation of deal workflow looks like in this AI era. You'll hear some real world examples, see some real workflows, talk about where the market is heading specifically in this new world. And regardless of where you're joining from, I really think these takeaways are going to be so impactful for the next quarter or year of your deals. This is based on what we hear from our customers in the community at DealRoom. M&A teams are being asked to move faster than ever before. And a lot of this is because of the promise of AI. So evaluating more opportunities, filling the pipeline with more and more. How are you going to drive more sourcing? Running more deals, and oftentimes concurrent deals at the same time to be able to hit those growth targets. And all the while, I think there's this underlying pressure of keeping stakeholders aligned, members of the deal team, so that's your internal cross-functional stakeholders, maybe your seller, your different consultants, but also keeping leadership on the same page, keeping the board or your executive team looped into what the pipeline is looking like, how deals are progressing. And it's really hard to do all of that at the same time. As these pressures have increased, the systems that are powering them, the technology that our corp dev teams are using has not evolved. So for a lot of teams, this is still the reality. We are seeing shared drives. We're seeing endless email threads, diligence trackers, status updates across different tools. Someone is still asking you where the latest file is, and you maybe don't know. Someone accidentally just replied all to 32 people on an email thread, and now you've got all the replies on top of that. And on top of all of these disjointed systems and processes, corp dev is the one trying to wrangle everyone. And then AI entered the workflow. The way that teams started working changed really quickly with AI. Most people start is from chat. Probably for many of us, it was using ChatGPT, and it was for simple tasks, copying and pasting a big body of text and then summarizing it. The next phase in AI adoption that we most often see is analysis. AI has helped teams started thinking faster. So really being more efficient, reviewing diligence documents and asking AI to surface risks, creating a first pass at market research. So it's not just a specific tiny task, it's actually layering in analysis work that is cutting down time, increasing efficiency of tasks. And that has been very, very powerful. And then things changed again. Early adopters, our technologists are really digging into connected workflows. AI is way more than a chat tool. It's become able to take action. Agentic workflows, oftentimes corp dev teams have multiple agents working together to execute on a bigger body of work. But regardless of where you are on this curve, the rest of the workflow has stayed the same. Even if you're leveraging AI, you likely still have a shared drive, a VDR, someone still replying all, you still can't find the seller documents. The workflow for how you're driving the deal generally hasn't changed. So instead of totally replacing all chaos, for some of the folks that we talk to, it feels like AI has become another tab or another layer. They know they need to work, but it just isn't as seamless as it may sound. I want to articulate this a little bit better with a use case of a corp dev. So I'm going to tell you the story of Maya. Maya is not a real person, but she's modeled after the corporate development leaders that we talk to every day. Maya is a VP of corp dev at a mid-market company. It's PE backed. She has a really lean team. So she has an analyst and she has a manager on her team. And they have some very aggressive growth goals that are set by the PE firm. So she has an acquisition target and an EBITDA target to hit each year. Right now, she has 3 active diligence processes that she is running, and she has a board update that she needs to deliver. She knows that she should be using AI, so she starts using it. She's summarizing diligence documents, pulling together research faster, but her day still looks the same, where she's moving information from one system to another, downloading a document, uploading it into Claude, running an analysis, but then still chasing updates across her team, translating work across different tools. she wants to be strategic. She got into corporate development to drive strategy, to build customer relationships or relationships with potential targets, to find opportunities, and to actually grow the company through acquisition. But somewhere along the way, the operational overhead of what the reality of an acquisitive business looks like started taking over the actual work. And Maya finds herself doing a lot of manual work. And with AI, you would think that she could take some of that away, and she has been able to take some of it. And the problem is that all the data that Maya has access to is not seamlessly connected with her AI. Her AI lacks a source of truth for deal data, her deal processes, and all the past deal decisions that live across her disparate tools. She knows she should be using AI to help her be more efficient, and she's trying, but it still isn't showing that ROI at the end of the day. She's stuck at her desk late night. She knows she has this update for the board tomorrow, and she's wondering, what if my AI, the tools that I use that I know are so powerful, didn't sit outside my deal workflow, didn't sit outside all of my deal data, my deal processes, the systems I use? What if I could work kind of directly in AI and tap into all that deal data and that single source of truth my team is already working from?
In our case, DealRoom for your data and workflow, instead of having AI sit separately from that workflow, it can securely interact and connect to the systems where the work is actually happening. So let's go back to Maya for a second. Earlier, Maya was constantly moving between systems, downloading files from her VDR, uploading them to her Claude instance, running and copying analysis outputs back and manually adding them to her findings tracker in Excel, rewriting updates for leadership, keeping systems in sync herself. But now, Maya doesn't have to orchestrate all that together manually anymore. And while Maya isn't real, the workflow absolutely is. Over the past few months, we've been spending a ton of time with real customers building AI-assisted M&A workflows today. And honestly, what we keep hearing the same thing over and over again. And here's what one of our customers, John Plushi, told us. John's team used DealRoom MCP to build a live reasoning dashboard across a complicated diligence process. And what used to take days started taking minutes. AI by itself is useful, but connected to AI workflows, connected to the real data, real diligence workflows, real pipeline context, that's where things start to become transformational. Instead of manually downloading customer contracts into Claude, Maya can now ask AI to review diligence documents directly in DealRoom, identify risks, create findings, and write them back automatically. And you can see that it shows how it's interacting with data, interacting with DealRoom in the queries itself. It's making tool calls and showing results. The next use case I want to show is all around how you can do market research and create pipeline directly in Claude or your AI tool. Let's see a demo of how Maya can quickly start using DealRoom. She can go directly into her AI and say, research acquisition targets in healthcare IT between 50 million and 200 million. AI searches the web, compares the pipeline tracker on DealRoom, and comes up with target companies and also adds it back to her pipeline tracker on demand. So you can see it right in DealRoom as it goes. Or she can now say, generate a board-ready M&A summary using all of her Q2 data across her active pipeline, diligence, and integration activity, which would look something like this as an output. Now let's look at one of the more impactful use cases that we hear all of our customers trying to do, which is due diligence analysis. Earlier, Maya would have had to download documents from the data room, upload them into her AI tool, run analysis, and manually copy everything back from spreadsheets and findings trackers. But now she can simply prompt AI directly, something like review files in the legal folder for the Horizon Group and flag risks to auto-renew clauses, customer concentration issues, missing compliance terms, and just try to do all of that in a single prompt. And the DealRoom MCP handles the workflow in the background. Not just this, but many more use cases which would have taken days can now be done in seconds. To learn more, go check out dealroom.net/MCP. The link is going to be in the chat. So to say the least, this is really about moving manual orchestration from the day-to-day life of deal teams. So teams can spend more time actually driving strategy and execution forward.
We're super excited about the future of this. And I think these use cases are just at the start of what you can do with our MCP. Thanks again, everyone.